I did the recommended routine for 1 year combined with the warm-ups, skills work, and cooldowns from the overcoming gravity which the recommended routine is heavily based upon. I hope to share what I went through doing the recommended routine so you can use it to find out what the recommended routine can get you, to avoid the mistakes I made, and to learn some insights from experience. Just in case you're not familiar with the recommended routine, it's the recommended bodyweight routine for general beginners that is focused on overall balanced strength. The recommended routine has 9 different progressions. Let's go in order. Pull-up progression. For pull-ups, I started with arch pull-ups, then I moved on to straight body pull-ups. After reaching 3x10 pull-ups, I was not able to increase reps anymore. I got bored with being stuck, so decided to progress to the next level, which was the L-sit pull-ups. My initial goal was to do 3x12 before progressing, but since the recommended routine uses 3x8 to progress to the next level, I thought it makes sense to move on anyway. I chose 3x12 to hit a little bit more of hypertrophy. However, I felt like my form wasn't good enough. It was really hard to keep my body hollow. See my back being arched here? My shoulder would keep rotating in the beginning of the pull, as you can notice here. However, if you see this person, he does not seem to have that shoulder rotating motion. I thought I'm not strong enough to have a good form. Therefore, I regressed to tuck L-sit pull-ups. Not much was different. I still couldn't keep my body hollow and shoulder would still rotate. I decided to regress back to the basic pull-ups and reach good form 3x12 first. However, I was still stuck at 3x10 doing the basic pull-ups. I tried 4 different simple intra-exercise progression methods to progress further, such as linear rep, set addition, rep addition, and last set to failure, as described in Overcoming Gravity. This is me doing the last set to failure. I had no luck. I was really frustrated because the pull-up is a level 3 exercise that should progress fine with these simple intra-progression methods. After a few weeks of doing 3x10 pull-ups, one of my friend, Nesu, also known as We Shall Never Surrender on YouTube, suggested me to do chest to bar pull-ups to further increase the strength. After a couple weeks in, I got golfer's elbow while doing pull-ups. This is when I got it, and me having pain there. I was lucky to have this captured. Squat progression. Squat progressions progressed really quickly. I started with the beginner shrimp squats. This was pretty easy as my other leg was helping me balance by touching the ground. Then, I progressed to intermediate shrimp squats, which was a little bit harder but still relatively easy. Then, I progressed to advanced shrimp squats. It now started getting hard to balance. My leg would keep pulling me backwards. It took some time to get better at balancing. Then, I tried to do the both hand deficit shrimp squats. However, I just couldn't do it. So, I first tried doing it without actually grabbing my feet with my both hands. It was somewhat harder than the advanced one. This is me when I got better at it. Next, I progressed to the real both hands deficit version. I really hated this one. My leg would keep pulling my body backwards when I am at the bottom position. Also, my leg would keep twisting inwards, as in from where one of my butt is to where my asshole is. Like, I felt like either my arms are too short or my upper body is too long to do this movement. Then, lastly, I progressed to the elevated advanced shrimp squats. This was a pretty fun exercise as it gave me some sense of achievement. However, the stool I was using to do the elevated advanced shrimp squats broke after a few uses, so I had to regress to unelevated version. Since I wasn't really focused on my lower body, I just kept at this level to maintain what I had gotten onwards. Dips. For dips progression, I started with doing dips, shoulder dips in particular. I started with 90 degrees range of motion and then increased the range of motion to full range of motion. Then one day, I felt a very strong sharp pain in the inside of my right elbow. Luckily again, I captured it in the video. Thinking it is just a temporary issue, I resumed the set. I got even stronger sharper pain this time. I still don't know why I got the pain, but I just never tried doing dips since then. Instead, I moved on to pike push-ups. Originally, I wanted to go the dips path and progress to the ring dips. However, I didn't want to risk getting injured and decided to go with the headstand push-up alternative path. I felt pike push-ups are hard, not because of lack of strength, but more because of lack of mobility in my hamstrings. Then I progressed to doing headstand push-ups on the wall, having my back facing the wall and then having my belly facing the wall after. One constant issue I had while doing headstand push-ups was that the small blood vessels in my face gets ruptured if I go near or to failure. Even if I breathe properly, breathing out when pushing up and breathing in when going down, after doing 3 sets of headstand push-ups, there are multiple tiny red spots on my face, especially on my forehead. Because of this, I tend to kind of stop before pushing too hard for my last set reps. If it weren't for this issue, I believe I would have progressed a bit faster on my vertical pushing progressions. Hinge. I've never done a hinge exercise in my life prior to this. Even the very first progression, bodyweight Romanian deadlift, gave my hamstrings DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness, the next day. Nevertheless, as this exercise was very easy, I was able to progress through both the Romanian deadlift and single leg deadlift hinge exercises pretty quickly. However, I did not have the equipment at home to do Nordic curls or glute ham raises, which were the next progression. Then someone told me about this sliding leg curl exercise. This exercise may not be a full hinge exercise. However, this is a great hamstring exercise. This exercise becomes pretty hard when doing it one-legged. At first, I used paper towels and towels. However, these would have inconsistent friction with the ground as the downward force from my feet changes as I curl. Using the penny board was a really great move which enables consistent friction across the movement. Doing this with the hand not touching the ground makes it even harder as I can't use my arms to support myself. Also, I varied the length of my other leg to control the intensity. Rows. For rows, very frustratingly, similar to pull-ups, it just won't progress after reaching a certain point. I started with incline wide rows and then progressed to horizontal wide rows. After that, since I wanted to do bodyweight stuff instead of weight stuff, I chose the archer rows path instead of the weighted rows path. So I started doing the incline archer rows on rings. At first, my form was really bad. I couldn't even keep my supporting arm straight, nor do it with the full range of motion. I was able to have a much better form with a full range of motion after a few weeks. However, after I reached a good form, I was not able to progress further. I could not able to increase the intensity nor reps. My body just won't become better at it. So after a few months of being stuck at the same progression, I decided to go for the front lever path instead of archer rows path. So this is me doing the top front lever with slightly declined body. Then this is when I fixed my body to be more horizontal. Push-ups. For push-ups, I started with diamond push-ups. However, a couple weeks in, my wrist started hurting. I think it was because diamond push-ups is hard on the wrist as it puts uneven pressure on them. So I decided to move on to the next progression, the pseudo planche push-ups. This was my first attempt at PPPU. At first, I did not know I was supposed to keep my head consistent, meaning my head should move up and down in a vertical fashion. Rather, as you can see here, I was doing it more like lean at the bottom but kind of come back to the original position at the top. After realizing that is not the correct form, I fixed it as you can see here. At first, I started with my fingers pointing to the sides or slightly towards the back. However, as the lean increased to like 30 centimeters, I could no longer do it like that. So I started doing it with my fingers pointing slightly to the front. It is tremendously harder if my fingers are pointing to the sides or backwards. I'll probably reach the max lean first and then switch to pointing to the sides after. I used a ruler which you can see it below me to keep track of how much lean I have and increased the lean by 5 centimeters when I reached 3x8 or 3x12 reps. From 30 centimeter lean, I felt like it gets quadratically harder. Like the jump from 30 centimeter to 35 centimeter lean is greater than the jump from 0 centimeter to 25 centimeters lean. This is me doing 3x5, 35 centimeter lean pseudo planche push-ups. Anti-extension. Anti-extension progression was kind of fun and pretty hard at the same time. I liked it as well as I hated it. However, I was pretty consistently able to progress to harder variations from higher ab rollouts to lowering ab rollouts to partial range of motion knee ab rollouts to increased range of motion knee ab rollouts. However, at some point, I had a weird discomfort in the chest area when doing the knee AB rollouts. The discomfort did not go away for several weeks, so I stopped doing it. Since the core triplets are okay to be skipped as per the recommended routine, I just removed it from my routine. Also, I realized the jump from knee ab rollouts to AB rollouts is insane. I can't even do one negative ab rollouts even if I can do 3x8 knee ab rollouts. This is me doing the knee ab rollouts. Anti-rotation. For anti-rotation, I did not have a band to do the banded pull-off press, so I chose the Copenhagen plank path. I started with knee Copenhagen plank. It felt really weird in the beginning as I've never really intentionally used my thigh adductors before. Then I progressed to assisted Copenhagen plank and then to the Copenhagen plank. At this point, my knee had some discomfort, so I very slowly progressed through it. Eventually, my knee stopped feeling that discomfort. I believe that was due to my knee becoming stronger and I got really happy for it. After reaching the last progression for the Copenhagen plank, except for the moving one, I decided to do the horse riding stance, which is the prerequisite for the side splits isometric stretching. I started with 60 seconds of 1.6x shoulder width horse riding stance and progressed to the 120 seconds of 2x shoulder width horse riding stance. At first, I couldn't even lower my body enough to be parallel to the ground. It really hurts when I do 120 seconds of 2x shoulder width horse riding stance. Here's me feeling the pain after doing the 120 seconds. I am not sure if the side splits isometric stretching can be considered as an anti-rotation exercise, but I thought it made sense to do this as the next step from the Copenhagen plank, since both of these use the thigh adductors quite heavily. After I started doing the side splits isometric stretching from 95 cm and reached to 135 cm, increasing by 5 cm each time. This is also me going crazy due to the pain. Extension. For extension exercises, I started with the arch body hold. My legs were so high here as you can see here. I realized later that I was supposed to intentionally limit the range of motion so it looks more like this. After this, I did arch body rocks. I did not feel much difference from the hold and this one. As there were no more progressions, I just chose to do another path, which was the reverse hyperextension. I did tuck, straddle, and full version. Again, not much difference. After doing all these, I just stopped doing the extension exercises. The recommended routine is also okay with us, skipping the core triplets anyway. I still did one set of 30-second arch body hold as one of the positional drills in my warm-ups so my lower back does not degrade. Support hold. For support hold, I started with ring support hold as I thought bar support hold was just too easy. However, I later realized I was not doing it with my arms properly locked out, which was why I felt it was too easy. Starting from 30-second and after reaching 60-second ring support hold, I tried to move on to the ring turnout support hold. However, I couldn't even do it for 1 second. The part of my forearm where it touches the ring hurt so much and I just couldn't turn my arms out. I was only able to turn it halfway and do it for like 10 seconds. I decided to reach 60-second partial ring turnout support hold first. Even 10 seconds of partial ring turnout support hold was very taxing on my biceps. Also, the ring turnout support hold kinda forces my arms to be in fully locked out position. Therefore, as I was doing the support hold with not fully locked out arms until now, as I progressed, my elbows did not feel good. They weren't ready. So, around the time I reached 45 seconds, I had to regress and decided to start from the bar support hold, but with fully locked out arms this time to slowly strengthen my elbow connective tissues. Despite my elbow issue, my forearm did not hurt anymore at least. I wish I knew what locked out arm really means from the beginning. Back lever prerequisites. As a warm-up and to strengthen my elbow connective tissues, I also did back lever prerequisites. I started with 15 seconds German hang. After getting comfortable with it, I did 5 skin the cats. Then I came back to German hang and increased the hold time until I reached 60 seconds. I realized too late that I should have been doing these in supinated grip and not in pronated grip, as it is harder in supinated grip and can better strengthen my elbow connective tissues. Elbow lever. One of the skills work I did was elbow lever. I started with straddle elbow lever as I had some b-boying background like 10 years ago. It helped quite a lot getting started on this move. After reaching 30 seconds straddle elbow lever, I moved on to elbow lever. As I had to lean more forward, it was quite harder. After reaching 30-second elbow lever, I tried doing it on rings. I just couldn't do it. So I tried doing it on bar. It was pretty scary at first as I worried about face palming to the ground, so I really slowly raised my legs. This one was an extremely fun skill. After this, I moved on to one arm supported elbow lever. As I am right-handed, doing this on my left arm was quite hard. It took some time for my abs to get used to being pushed by my left elbow. It was fine with my right arm as I had similar experience when b-boying. Again, after reaching 30 seconds, I moved on to doing one arm straddle elbow lever with no support. This skill was really hard with my left arm. I just couldn't balance. However, it's a very fun skill to master.
Subscribe.
This was a detailed 1-year journey of how I progressed through the recommended routine. I feel like 1 year is not enough to fully master the recommended routine, but I still decided to graduate from it and move on to a mix of trained beginner routine and an intermediate routine from overcoming gravity, as I now wanted to shift my focus a bit towards achieving some of the static calisthenic skills rather than just building for overall balanced body. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to follow my journey.